with our education, we have settled in our careers, we have developed habits, rather fixed habits, some good, some maybe not that good. We made friends, usually friends, like-minded friends who like to do similar things. What I'm trying to emphasize that is we try to do things that are very similar, not different, which means the similar sets of pathways, circuits are built rather than a variety of pathways. So what happens is most of these pathways have been built, so most of our activities are automatic. We don't think where we're walking. We don't think about how to talk. We don't think about to eat. We don't think when we are working. Most of the work is routine. Most of the talk we do is with friends, usually common topics that we are talking about. So, the brain being a remarkable structure, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made an amazing way. The question is, the brain weighs only about 2% of the body weight. Of your body weight, the brain weighs only 2%. But how much energy does it consume? It consumes 20% of the energy we take every day. 20% of what we food is used by the brain. But by the time we are in midlife, most of the things that we do are automated. We are in cruise control. Do we really need all those structures? Do we really need all those synapses? So what the brain starts doing is a process called synaptic pruning. It cuts off the circuits, the synapses that are not needed to conserve the energy. And so what happens? The neuron number, the synapse count goes up dramatically, but then around middle age, it starts going down, and later in life, unfortunately, if you don't do anything, we end up in bad shape. So that's the natural life course of the synapse count, and what we need to do is try to minimize that synapse loss and regain some if possible. What are the risk factors? There are some risk factors that are beyond our control. Undereducated, air pollution, breathing. Unfortunately, we're stuck with those risk factors. A number of risk factors need professional support. Diabetes, high blood pressure, head injury and so forth. Hearing loss and visual impairment are highlighted. Those are critical because if you're not getting those inputs, you're not seeing things, you're not hearing things, less input to the brain, less brain stimulation, you're gonna get dementia faster. And those are highlighted because they are very simple things to correct. We all say, oh, I have a little difficulty hearing. It's okay. No, it's not okay. Nowadays, hearing aids are very cheap. They are over the counter. You have a hard time going to an ENT doctor to get an ear test. You can do a hearing test online, put on speaker and you can test it, and go to Costco and get a hearing aid. So, please, 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 if there's any degree of hearing loss, wife keeps complaining, please get a hearing aid. It's good for your brain. It's good for ignoring your wife sometimes, but no, it's more important for your brain. And similarly, make sure your classes are up to strength. And the things that we can manage, we can improve upon by lifestyle adaptation. Avoid smoking. We don't have to worry about alcohol. Correct obesity. Make sure you have a proper diet. I mentioned what that might be. Get the appropriate amount of sleep. Social isolation is a major risk factor because the less input you have, if you're not interacting with other people, the more risk of dementia. And that's why these types of gatherings are important. Weekly, monthly, if you can get to any of them, join your friends, community, and participate in whatever little discussions you might have. It's good for your brain to get out and interact. We'll talk about exercise, and we'll talk about ways to stimulate your mental capacities, all to increase the number of synapses and minimize your risk for dementia. Recently, there has been concern about a number of medications that are quite common and quite routinely used. They have been associated with an increased risk of dementia, but only if you are taking them regularly and you're taking them for a prolonged period, 6 months or more or something like that. The list is quite long, so I'm not going to show it here, but at the end I'm going to be sharing the references of the important things I talked about and the list of the drugs that we are concerned about, and that will be shared with all of you. But before changing on any of those drugs, make sure to decide the pros and cons, whether the medicine is good for you or whether the risk of dementia is more. So you need to have a discussion with your physician before you think of changing. So how do we minimize the risk?